Mark's hand trembled as he gripped the iron key. It was ice cold, radiating a chill that seemed to crawl up his arm.
The door loomed before them, black and heavy, set into the wall of the old house like a tomb's entrance. He hesitated, a knot of dread tightening in his stomach, but the others, pale and silent, waited for him to unlock the horror within. The lock turned with a heavy thunk, the sound echoing in the oppressive silence.
The air grew instantly colder as the door creaked open. It was an unnatural chill, a bone-deep cold that seemed to suck the warmth from their bodies. A musty, metallic scent wafted from the room beyond, making their eyes water.
Mark took a hesitant step inside, his heart pounding against his ribs like a frantic bird. The room was shrouded in darkness, the only light filtering through the dusty cracks in the boarded-up windows. The air hung heavy and still, thick with the scent of decay and something else, something ancient and evil.
Mark felt a shiver run down his spine, prickling the hairs on the back of his neck. He fumbled for his flashlight, the metal cold and slick in his clammy hand.
The beam flickered to life, cutting through the gloom to illuminate a scene of utter desolation. Dust lay thick on every surface, cobwebs hung like macabre decorations, and the air was thick with the oppressive silence of the grave. But it was the figure in the center of the room that drew their gaze, a figure that sent a fresh wave of terror crashing over them. It sat hunched in a high-backed chair, its back to them, draped in shadows. The figure was impossibly thin, skeletal, with long, bony fingers that tapped impatiently on the armrest. Its head was turned away, but even in the dim light, they could see that something was wrong, terribly wrong.
The skin was stretched taut over its skull, almost translucent, revealing the outline of the bone beneath.
As Mark took a step closer, the figure slowly turned its head. A collective gasp escaped the group. The face that stared back at them was a grotesque mockery of humanity, the flesh pale and waxy, the eyes two black pits devoid of life. Its lips were stretched in a horrifying rictus grin, revealing teeth filed to sharp points. This was not a man, not anymore. This was something else, something monstrous.
So you have come. I've been expecting you.
The figure, the creature, straightened in its chair, its grin widening. It was the collector, or what was left of him. His voice, though weak, sent shivers down their spines.
He began to tell his tale, a tale of obsession, of dark bargains, and of a terrible price to pay. He spoke of his lifelong pursuit of immortality, his desire to cheat death itself. He had delved into forbidden texts, performed unspeakable rituals, all in search of eternal life. And finally, he had found it, or so he thought. He had made a deal, a pact with a power beyond human comprehension. He had traded his soul for immortality, but it was a devil's bargain.
The collector's tale continued, his voice a low hiss that seemed to slither around the room.
The price of my immortality was another soul, a soul I had to offer up to the entity I had bargained with.
He had believed it would be easy, that souls were cheap and plentiful.
But I was wrong.
Each soul he took, each life he extinguished only fueled the hunger within him, a hunger that could never be sated.
Look around you.
He gestured to the walls covered in strange symbols and diagrams, a testament to his descent into madness. His eyes, those empty black sockets, fixed on each of them in turn. They realized with dawning horror that they were not here by chance. The spirit, the girl who had led them here, it was all part of the collector's plan. They were to be the next sacrifice. Panic welled up inside Mark. He looked at the others, their faces pale and drawn in the flickering light of his flashlight. They were trapped, pawns in a game played by forces beyond their understanding. And the girl, the spirit they had trusted, she had betrayed them, lured them here to their deaths.
He remembered her sad eyes, her pleas for help. Had it all been a lie? Was this the true nature of the spirits they were dealing with? Malevolent entities playing with their lives for some unknown purpose?
The thought sent a chill down his spine, colder than the unnatural chill of the room. The collector rose from his chair, his movements jerky and unnatural. He moved with surprising speed for one so skeletal, his grin widening into a terrifying, predatory smile.
There is no escape. You belong to me now.
He lunged towards them, his long bony fingers outstretched, eager to claim his due. Chaos erupted. Screams pierced the oppressive silence as the group scattered, their fear giving them a burst of adrenaline.
Run!
Ethan, always the bravest of them, shoved Mark out of the way, putting himself between the collector and the rest of the group, his voice choked with terror. They didn't need telling twice. They scrambled back, pushing past cobweb-covered furniture, their blood pounding in their ears. They could hear Ethan behind them, his desperate cries cut short by a sickening crunch. The flashlight slipped from Mark's grasp, plunging them into darkness. They stumbled blindly, desperate to escape the horrors of the house.
As they ran, something brushed against Mark's hand, cold and insubstantial. He recoiled, his heart hammering in his chest, and then he saw them, figures flitting in the shadows at the edge of his vision. Children, their eyes hollow and dark, their skin pale and translucent, the collector's previous victims, trapped here for eternity.
Mark stumbled through the darkness, his breath coming in ragged gasps. The house seemed to twist and turn around him, a labyrinth designed to trap and confuse. He could hear the others ahead of him, their panicked breaths and frantic footsteps echoing in the darkness. But the house was alive with the echoes of the dead. They were running blind, hunted.
He slammed into a door, the wood cold and hard against his flesh. He fumbled for a handle, a latch, anything to escape the nightmare closing in around them. But it was too late.
The collector's laughter echoed behind him, cold and triumphant. They were trapped, their souls forfeit. The devil's price had been claimed.